the amount of rockets you have matter? Yeah, I think it makes you go faster, hopefully. Hull stress is getting fucked because I need more empty tiles. Oh no, I have too many empty tiles and I could use way more walls. That's okay. We're still working. Hit a 900 or get your food right now. Oh, okay. You want me to throw out a 900? Even on my fucked keyboard? Well, I do it on my mouse. Hold on. Although it's harder on mouse. Probably can't do it while I'm using this. Harder because my mouse is moving around a little bit, but yeah, no.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
If you stack the rockets in front of each other, then the ship goes faster because the front rocket pushes in the rocket in the back. True. That sounds like it would really work that way. Or really work that way. I think if you were flying near the speed of light, hitting the smallest pebble would smash your ship to bits, so aerodynamics in terms of being able to push particles away would probably matter. I have no idea how to even imagine how to handle that in the real world. Yeah, I have no idea. Nice, dude.
All the world's a river, and I'm
71%, 78%. Oh, so it matters how far away the engine is from the thing you're pushing, maybe.
We're no strangers to love.
Their despair is the seasoning.
How is that? Way too big.
Get fucked. Get fucked.
The speed of light, the slightest changes in speed of any part of the structure would completely destroy the entire ship, even if the whole structure is somehow part of the same piece? Lattice? I don't know what it is. Maybe.
The depth of flavor is what I go.
Or it's not. Okay.
An ally has been
Let's
slain.
finish our power structure here.
I shall
I can't push this in.
establishment also drown in
It's better to do it like this, or sort of.
An ally has been slain.
I think this might be better actually. Let's do it like this.
misery has a delectable taste.
Volume boosts the sound effect of pipes falling over very dramatically. Good one. Okay, that's letting out water. And then boom.
Fuck. I fucked up. Man.
This is
That was
letting
bad.
out water as well. Boom.
It's really
That's
stupid.
water. See Bruce talking about you yesterday? A little bit, but I don't care. I'm pushing this. Water is okay, but I have to pipe in water from pretty far away. That's kind of shitty. Did you finish researching all 46 deep space zones? Wait, are there 46 of them? Can you actually finish that research? Zone discovery. Targeted zone discovery. Deep space zone discovery 9. This is infinite. Why are you saying it only goes to 46?
Covet is to starve. My diet is expensively unique.
Gives an error message after 46? Wait, really? Boom.
All creation is born, famished, and starving.
I click Q. What the fuck?
There's no way to like bring these two
You got
together.
the conquer stacked up on me.
So just are you that guy? Yeah, I am that guy.
An enemy has been slain.
Oh wait, that's not even symmetrical.
Very safely.
An enemy has been slain.
Oh my god, what if I move this over by 1? Like this. And then I move this whole setup over. Like this.
I need to scale and stop fighting him like an idiot.
Now we can do this.
Let him into me.
By tier 5 step, how do I get a picture of you? I'll find my house.
Killing
Let me
spree.
do this.
An enemy has been slain.
Nice. One pipe here. One pipe here.
Every heart has its own hunger.
Rampage.
Pylon here. Power.
Constitution is unflappable.
So good.
Tastes that aren't easily
Container.
pacified.
Your storage is not connected to your engines right now. Are you sure? You are sure. Good.
Oh, I need 3 stacks to ult him. I was like, oh, I'll just swallow him. So fucking annoying.
I don't even need that.
I'm sitting my ass up.
An edgelord, a psychopath, and a female girl murders the father's interrogation. Background noise if you want. But this is JCS, we've already watched it.
I'm not demanding.
Oh, explore with us. 3.5 hours, bro. That's perfect.
I'm asking nicely. As a kind civilian that also knows how to manipulate cops.
This is 22-year-old Russell Jones. Just hours prior to the filming
Yeah,
of this
we're base
interrogation
boosted.
footage, he was arrested for helping a 15-year-old girl execute
Nah,
the brutal
nah.
murder of her father.
No, you
Let's
ain't.
set our clock, shall we?
In approximately 3 seconds, you will witness an extreme shift in his demeanor.
Where you think you're going, bud?
You're listening in on my conversation,
Fuck. Farming with this dude is hard.
So, we can do this the nice way Or we can do it the hard way and I can release my bipolar. Let's make it easy.
What?
1. Thanks for the food. 2. I see Ellie and Gavin because they are both under my protection. 3. Before you release Ellie to her parents, or parents, do a background check as well as a DNA test, as well as, well, not DNA, a drug test. And if you find out that her parent, her mom, is in fact doing drugs, you are to release her to me. Tell him to release Gavin and Ellie. Thank you.
Here,
And I
5
know I'm
columns right here.
recording. You can keep that on there. Oh, that's your nice guy. I think. But you're one of those two-time donut-eating pieces of crap that don't like food, a high school bully with a bag. I'm sorry, but I eat high school bully for breakfast. So, if you want the whole story, make a deal, or I let out my bipolar. Your choice.
He's like fucking trying to.
The following footage contains never
Negotiate with these detectives.
Of the suspects involved in this
Such an
crime.
idiot.
Through in-depth interviews, we've obtained rare insight into the minds of 3 criminals who display behavior that is among the most disturbing we've seen yet.
I can still tweak your little mind.
Aaron Fryer's murder was reportedly one of the most gruesome homicides Medford police had seen. The investigative team assigned to the case knew there was significant cause for concern just from viewing the crime scene alone. Aaron's 2 youngest daughters, Sierra and Olivia, walked out of their bedroom the morning of October 2nd, 2017, to find the horrifying evidence of the crime. But their father was nowhere to be found. The 2, who were not yet in high school, called their father's girlfriend for help, and it was not long before the police were involved. Only a few hours later, investigators picked up and detained 3 young individuals, walking roadside a short distance from Aaron's abandoned Silver Mercury Marquis. His eldest daughter, 15-year-old Ellen Rose Fryer, was part of the trio. Her 19-year-old boyfriend, Gavin Curtis McFarlane, and his longtime friend, 22-year-old Russell Pierce Jones, accompanied her.
What's your first name?
Mike
Okay. Mike what?
Smith.
Mike Smith?
Kind of sounds just like this.
Mike Smith does sound like a very common.
Sure it's not Russell?
I haven't had him down or anything.
I don't really have any weapons.
Okay, that makes me feel a whole lot easier, alright?
Yeah.
Just go ahead and stand here and spread your feet real quick.
I probably would be really stupid saying this,
Uh-huh.
but did you happen to notice
Your wrists? What about them? I
well,
can stick one where I'm good.
that I can dislocate my wrist?
Okay, don't do that though, please.
Okay. You seem like a nice one.
I appreciate
I
it.
won't make it hard on you.
Alright.
I only make it hard on the bad ones.
Did you? What kind of protection? Okay, so you're gonna protect like runaways? Yeah. So you provide protection for runaways and get them like a place to live? Okay.
Ellen was a sophomore student at South Medford High School, Medford, Oregon, and Gavin was a previous student who had dropped out a quarter before his graduation. Ellen would tell police that she met Gavin walking through South's hallways. According to Ellen, she reached out via Facebook Messenger and started a conversation that would evolve into a forbidden romance. She, only 15, was underage, and Gavin, 19, was her lover. Friends and family were appalled, but no one as much as Ellen's father. Aaron, in addition to Ellen's mother, Maggie, immediately set clear boundaries. She was no longer allowed to see Gavin.
Wait, what were the ages again?
Teenagers who do not get their way, Ellen rebelled. She snuck out and lied to see him, secretly maintaining their bond. It was not long before Ellen's lies caught up to her.
19
Aaron
and 15?
discovered that instead of staying the night at a friend's as she'd been claiming, she was sleeping over at Gavin's. Aaron, furious, stormed over to Gavin's house, pounded on his door, and threatened him, warning him not to come near his daughter again.
Yeah, 19 and 15 is like.
It was following
that's
this incident that the couple, in addition to Russell, who claimed to own a protection business, developed an insidious plan that reached far beyond sneaking out or running away, as is typical of many teenagers. They began to conspire to murder Ellen's father. Ellen alleged had abused her. Although they initially intended to execute their plan after the new year, when Ellen would turn 16, Ellen began to claim the abuse was growing worse.
And I was not happy with the text. And that's the one that talked about the abuse. Yeah.
And further, that she was pregnant with Gavin's child.
Oh,
This
fuck.
spurred a sense of urgency that drove them to act sooner rather than later. On the Saturday preceding the crime, when Ellen was absent attending a high school band event, Gavin and Russell attempted to break into her house through her bedroom window with murder in mind, messaging Ellen all the while. They quickly found that Aaron's girlfriend was asleep in the room and ran off. Although the attempt drew attention and concern, the police were not involved at that point. Aaron would pick his daughter up from the band event, take her and her siblings Halloween shopping, and treat them to Burger King the next day, and return to their home to watch a Sunday night movie. The events that followed the next morning were a tragic contrast to this seemingly wholesome day of family events. Gavin and Russell again arrived outside of Ellen's bedroom window in the early hours of that Monday morning. Ellen prompted Gavin to enter, and he obliged, while Russell remained outside in her yard. Over a period of an hour or so, Gavin and Ellen
You must go for 100% streamline on all your ships, right? I would imagine.
whimsically discussed their future, full of marriage and lifelong love. But this was only to pass time.
You reckon you could pass an interrogation if you committed a crime? I feel like if you had committed a crime and you were trying to pass an interrogation, it's not enough to... your goal shouldn't be to lie. I feel like your goal shouldn't be to lie. I feel like your goal needs to be, you need to write down a whole story to account for everything that happened, and then you need to commit to memory that story. Like, the goal shouldn't be when somebody asks you a question, you're like, I'm trying to think, like, well, what was I doing instead? The goal should be when a question is asked, you can refer back to what you've mapped on in your mind as a true recollection of events. I feel like that would be the important way to pass interrogation. If you're trying to lie on every single thing, you're going to get fucked. But if you created an alternative narrative that accounts for all the underlying facts and just remember that story, I think you'd have a better chance of it. That'd be my guess.
They were waiting
You also probably shouldn't talk to the cops.
for Aaron, who rested on the living room couch and fell asleep. Eventually, they heard snoring, and Gavin began to make his way to the living room. His first attempt failed when he accidentally kicked a trash can. It was still dark. Aaron woke up. Gavin retreated to the bedroom, and Ellen pretended that she had to use the restroom. Oblivious to his impending fate, Aaron purportedly said to Ellen, "Stop scaring me with all these people breaking in lately." When the two heard his snoring once more, Ellen handed Gavin an aluminum baseball bat, something Aaron had kept close by for protection, and told Gavin to take him out. After Gavin was finished, he sent Ellen a message informing her it was done. Russell, who had stood outside with a machete for backup, entered the home at that point to assist with transporting Aaron's body. Russell reported that he was shocked and that he immediately retreated to the bathroom, sickened by the scene of the crime. Aaron's face, as shared by Russell, was scary. Due to the nature of Aaron's fatal injuries, Gavin wrapped a towel around Aaron's head and a blanket around his body. Russell, holding the blanket at Aaron's feet, and Gavin, holding it at his head, carried his body out to Aaron's own car and hoisted him into its trunk. Ellen was the last to re-enter her home. She stole money out of her recently murdered father's wallet, said goodbye to her sisters, who later told police they heard their father say a bad word to David just waking up for school, and retrieved her dog before leaving. The trio proceeded to drive to Walmart while Aaron's body remained in the trunk.
Mel?
Ellen used the money she had stolen to buy junk food and hair dye. Before leaving, they walked into an SSI building so that Russell, who was on disability for reasons we'll learn later, could retrieve money with Gavin serving as his rep payee. The following eerie footage captures these moments.
Enemy double kill. Enemy killing
Okay, is that footage really that eerie? My dude.
They dumped Aaron's body off an embankment along the side of the road. Also off the embankment alongside the road, they threw various incriminating pieces of trash or clothing articles. They ditched Aaron's car and walked away with plans of hiding low in an abandoned house, and eventually retreated to California.
Oh my god.
We interviewed dozens of friends and family who knew these suspects, and we found that almost all of them shared the same sentiment.
I spent like the whole year with her and Dan doing competitions and whatever. Someone pulled me aside, was like, "Did you hear what happened?"
Oh my God! Exclusive interview footage.
Literally, previously I had spoken to her and been around her.
It was a shock.
It was a little.
Are you having
bit
UPS
sad.
issues yet?
It was a,
No, but I
you
tend
know,
to build in
murder,
pretty
you know,
UPS friendly ways.
Kind of mysterious and gruesome one, and I don't think anybody was expecting that.
All signs aside, no one expected that this would happen.
Think about this. Your daughter's 15.
Come on, you fucking retard. Let me fucking farm it.
Doing drugs. I would tell him never talk to my daughter again. And it's like some Romeo and Juliet. You know what I mean? They're not supposed to be together. They want to be together.
Romeo and Juliet laws could be applied there because it's a 3-year age difference.
What is the Romeo and Juliet law?
So do something drastic, you know. And unfortunately, it was taking Aaron's life in such a messed up way.
They found like actual evidence of them planning to kill both Ellie's father and the other guy whose name I can't remember, his dad as well.
Who's your father?
An ally has been
Oh.
slain.
What's so bad about him?
I know at the very least, Gavin and Ellie were present when Warner, both of them, Ellie's father to death with a baseball bat. They, you know, then took his car with his body, dumped him not even that far away, in a ditch. We're caught like not that long after in the car, I think, which is crazy. The Medford police would say it's
Thanks,
one of the
Caden, for
glorious
recounting
things
just
I've
like
ever
the
seen.
facts of the story.
All factors
damn,
involved
bro.
in these
You just
specific
called me out.
3 individuals culminated with a deadly storm that
That felt
ultimately
weird.
led to Aaron's traumatic murder. This is the beginning of an end for Ellen Fryer. She sits stiffly in an uncushioned chair. The walls are bare and narrowly enclosing. Experts designed this room to spur feelings of discomfort, isolation, and unfamiliarity. The
Wait, that's not face. Hold on, let me just record 1 second. Look. Somebody in chat said they worked with interrogations and you could never outsmart an interrogator or whatever. Realistically, that's probably true. I've said this a million times. When people think about lying, they tend to think that lying is kind of like in a Hollywood movie. You just have like 1 or 2 big moments and you're okay. But the reality is there are so many things you have to do to sell a lie. You have to be almost sociopathic to do it. You're going to be nervous. You're going to slip up. Your body language will change. It'll change in ways you're not realizing it. And also, this is a classic, like the classic thing is you'll make 1 or 2 mistakes and your entire story will fall apart. To create another narrative or story that accounts for all of the underlying facts of something else when we don't even know the information the person has, realistically, it's almost impossible. You should probably never be trying to do it. Telling complicated, like telling a lie for like 1 or 2 short event things, like if I go out to Burger King and
Why?
I'm supposed to go out
He
to
just
eat, like, vegan
heals.
food, and like my wife asked me, did you go to Burger King or did you go to like Vegans R Us? I'm like, oh, I went to Vegans R Us. Like on a one-off lie like that, maybe. But like when you're talking about like whole events involving multiple people, like complicated shit going on, you're never getting away with it. Realistically, it's just it's highly unlikely you'll be able to do that. And yeah, police and interrogators are here to like do this shit all the time. You've never tried to tell a professional lie before. Realistically, you're not getting away with it, right? Hold on 1 second.
That's true. What do I want to build? Healing, healing, I guess. Okay.
Let us eat voraciously and overindulge.
This Quinn is so annoying. Go soak up farm, not where I'm going.
Hunger can be abated. Nothing escapes hunger.
Well, everybody's dead. Just like me. Oh, that was stupid.
hours previously, Ellen stood outside her home while Gavin murdered her father. After she wrings her hands and cracks her fingers one by
You gotta be feeling like you fucked up hard if you're in the interrogation room the same fucking day. Like, Jesus.
one, she stares stoically at the camera.
You didn't have time to think over anything if they catch you that quick. You really fucked up,
Her
clearly.
behavior is markedly inconsistent with the nature of her recent experiences. An important aspect of reading body language is observing individuals' baseline nonverbal cues, followed by clusters of nonverbal cues, which can occur consecutively or simultaneously. Comparing these in the framework of individual circumstances, including environment, is an additional critical consideration. Upon contemplating Ellen's nonverbal language, also note her paralanguage, or the language that she conveys through vocal tone, pitch, prosody, volume, etc. They may assist law enforcement in building criminal profiles, determining suspects' motivations, or even detecting deception. Ellen shows little to no arousal physiologically, behaviorally, or emotionally. Mark this as our first significant behavioral observation.
Yeah, so that's the interesting thing, is that if you met Ellie, she doesn't seem like the type of person that could hurt somebody. She really was a sweet and soft individual. I think that's what was so shaking about it, was that it didn't really make sense to me that someone like Ellie would do that. Didn't seem in her character at all.
She was really sweet. She was a really great person. So I was like, okay, I can be friends with this person.
Many classmates knew Ellen as the girl who always raised her hand in class. She was accounted as intelligent, polite, and kind. But something that few could later explain lied dormant in Ellen, hiding amidst high school band.
I feel like, well, no, never mind, I shouldn't say that. I want to say it's funny because like they do like these interviews and everything, but like they don't really add much. It feels like they just got kids that were like that were like really excited to talk on camera. But it's just like, yeah, this person was nice. I'm like, yeah, it's like, okay. But maybe who knows? I mean, I guess it flushes it out more if you want to feel like there's unique content here rather than just retreading old cases.
Trips, homecoming dances, and AP classes. Here, that something sits patiently and composed, waiting for an investigator in an empty interrogation room. The following interrogations have been analyzed by a qualified team, including 2 licensed attorneys, one being a former criminal prosecutor and a psychologist trainee. The investigative team on this case may have selected this specific investigator, Detective Stephanie Smith, to conduct Ellen's interrogation for tactical reasons. Police psychology experts outline that investigators with traits similar to suspects are more likely to succeed in building rapport and facilitating open, honest communication. This concept applies to the broader field of psychology as well. It may be used as a vehicle of manipulation to appear more likable, otherwise termed the liking similarity effect. Ellen is more likely to respond positively to a female who speaks softly than a male who speaks gruffly. Ellen immediately displays a high level of resistance. As the interrogation unfolds, Detective Smith will navigate each obstacle to open communication that Ellen throws her way.
Is that what you're choosing to do?
Yes.
Okay. I at least need to know your name now. You don't want to tell me your name?
Rain.
Rain.
Mark lying as our second notable behavior observation and display of resistance. Ellen's first word is a lie, and she lies about her name. Lying is a common exploitive tool. Compulsive lying or pathological lying is characterized by lying about subjects' surrounding identity as a means of control.
Okay, Rain, well, if you choose that you want to talk, I'm around, okay?
I would like to know why I'm in handcuffs and why I'm detained. I have the right to know.
Okay.
Ellen is angry. This reflects in her expression, which is a significant contrast between her flat disposition minutes previously.
Thanks, Chief.
Her eyebrows are raised unusually high, and she holds them there as she asks the investigator with a childlike voice in an indignant, defiant tone why she is being detained.
Why am I being detained?
Her eye contact is unfaltering. Advanced situational awareness training would identify this behavioral cluster as indicating a need for dominance.
So we got a call of concern at your house today. Well, first I'm going to tell you all your rights. Okay? I'm going to tell you all your rights, okay? And then I'm going to explain to you what's going on. And if you choose to talk after that, that's completely up to you.
This is a lesser-known rapport-building tactic that functions by reminding suspects they have some level of autonomy. Ellen appears to grow more receptive.
Okay. You have the right to remain silent. So you said you want to remain silent.
But I would like to know why I'm detained.
Okay. So we got a call of concern at your house today, and your little sisters are pretty scared about what happened there. And so what we're doing is trying to figure out what happened. And the police went to your house, and we're also a little bit worried about what's going on over there.
Detective Smith is vague that law enforcement is worried about what is going on over there, Ellen's house. At this point, she's trying to build rapport. This is a soft and indirect approach. Detective Smith wants Ellen to fill in the gaps.
I haven't been there all night.
Well, there are things that would indicate otherwise.
Uh-oh.
I gave you guys what you wanted. No.
Not looking in. So he insisted to the public that the reason he didn't go to this event was because of our breakup, while privately admitting to me it was because he simply did not want to go. Look, you tell a woman your secrets. They come in. Now in the divorce, okay? On another occasion, he approvingly told his fans that I drove our car to a date. I remember that, the McLaren on the date, but only referred to it as.
Their own opinions, but with me, bro.
I mean, I respect someone moving on and doing the right thing or the right for your career, what the fuck. But guys, maybe I'm just short-sighted. I just don't understand. I just don't understand yo, how the fuck do I even say this without something like I'm a degen? I'm just trying to ask, okay? What does mentioning what? I don't understand it. Well, because Nick in the org is also black and was at the beginning. I just don't understand the correlation of being getting carried to the triumph, right? And the race in this context. I just don't understand it. Maybe I should watch it off stream and learn about it. And
If you don't know, pretty much every single esports organization is vastly overvalued because they're all subsidized by venture capitalist groups that are probably going to get fed up in 3 to 5 years when none of them are profitable.
What the fuck, man?
Dude, hey, where'd you get that?
Oh, this thing, forgot I was holding it, yeah. This is the Rocket League Spring Major Championship Trophy where we took first place in front of a sold-out copper box arena in front of God and every sports fan on this planet. That's the Moist Esports way.
Obviously, I'm talking about what you're wearing.
Oh, you're talking about the CEO Championship belt where we took first place in the Smash Major back in October of 2021.
How do you...
What? What the fuck?
Now.
What the?
Oh god.
Now.
Yeah, woo! And he do kick, ayy. Kick one leg, go Brit, ayy. Do a little twirl. Yeah.
It's the best birthday ever, Nick.
Yeah.
Nick, no,
Get dirty.
you get dirty.
Get dirty. Get dirty. Okay. Nick, your turn. That was fun.
Nick, your turn.
Listen, all I gotta say is Bruce was right, dog. Bruce was right, you know what I'm saying?
What?
I don't know what the fuck, you know.
Combos and shit. Listen, so the Middle East, right?
Dean.
Yeah, Middle Eastern. Yeah, Middle East.
You know why they're so rich over there?
Because they spawned in with oil under the soil.
Well, yeah, oil, which makes
He's
what?
saying the
Gasoline, right?
Quran predicted the wealth of Muslim nations or the Middle East before people even used oil.
Yeah, it's fuel. It's
Before
fuel.
people
It's
understood the importance of fossil fuels. So he's using that as a way to say like Quran is predictive of the future.
In the Quran, it basically said like their land is going to be super duper like rich in fortune.
See?
So basically like they had that there when there was no use of oil. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Before cars were a thing or anything that was ran on like gas.
Yeah, famously, incredibly wealthy country overall, Nigeria. Also very oil rich.
And it's probably people in here like that don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. That don't even know like.
Okay. Yeah. This is more personal though. This is more personal. I feel like in this case there is a little bit of caving in, which I don't agree with entirely, right? Because what matters a lot in the end is if you agree or not, and whether or not that reflects on your audience, whether the fuck is important, right? But it shows that you're a bit disingenuous. If you believe in something and you think of something while doing something, and then people don't agree, like, oh guys, I actually, you know what, chat? I don't agree actually because you don't.
Okay.
Normally, it would take about 24 hours to get missing persons report if there wasn't evidence of blood. Then, if the person's missing for a total of 48 hours, hence 48-hour mystery dump.
This
Then
guy
you do
sounds
your
like a
little
fucking sociopath.
search posse. By then, Gavin, me, and her would be in California.
And I'd like to talk to you about that, but with your wishing to remain silent, it's really difficult to kind of get to the bottom of all of that. Okay. So what I want to do is make sure you understand what I told you about what your rights are, because that's super important, okay? So can we go through those one more time?
Yes.
Okay. So you have a right to remain silent. What does that mean to you?
Detective Smith reiterates the Miranda rights and asks Ellen to explain what each right means to make sure there is understanding. States often require this if suspects are 15 years of age or younger.
I was gonna ask, do you really have to explain that? That seems like a really high threshold to me, but for a minor, maybe it's different. Eh?
So this morning, your little sisters ran over to your mom's house and told your mom about something that worried them that they saw in your house. Okay? And what that was a large amount of blood. And they described a few things that you had been doing at the house. Kind of the way you said goodbye, and that it worried them because they weren't sure if they were going to see you again, and they love you. And that really worried them a lot about where you were going and why you were leaving so quick, because they care about you and they love you.
She frames the story from Ellen's sister's perspective, describing how scared they were to appeal to Ellen's humanity, but Ellen seems relatively unaffected.
You know,
And?
you love your sisters.
And?
And you care about kind of how they feel about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a logical fallacy, man.
Anybody would. You know that?
Yeah.
So, kind of, that's what we need to hash out, you know? What did your sister see? Why are they worried? That's what I'm going to ask you.
To be honest, I don't have a clue.
becomes abruptly animated. She raises her eyebrows sharply, and they linger there. Something about the expression seems off. It doesn't reach the rest of her face, indicating chirality, or match her verbal expression. This abnormal behavior further supports that Ellen struggles with issues of affect or apathy. Ellen's expression, whatever it is, does not appear normal. Ellen's ex-best friend, Jillian McFeeters, commented on Ellen's mental health to investigators, stating that Ellen had displayed signs of bipolar disorder.
Switch would go off sometimes, and I mean it was not very long. Seriously? But
This is a critical piece of information confirmed by someone who knew Ellen best. Ellen's mood fluctuations indicate that she suffers from heightened emotional reactivity and sensitivity in response to triggering stimuli. This contrasts with mood swings typical of bipolar disorder, which are not as transient.
You said that there was a large amount of blood. Is everybody okay?
That's what we're trying to figure out. Yeah. Do you go to school?
No.
No. What's the last grade you completed?
12.
You completed 12th grade?
Detective Smith begins to ask background questions
Wait,
to
how old is
establish
she?
Ellen's behavioral baseline, or the behavior she normally displays when answering fact-based questions. Later in the interrogation, when she poses questions relevant to the crime, she will look for behaviors that diverge from Ellen's behavioral baseline when Ellen responds. We will expand on
Yes,
the
shut
formal
her off.
technique of this concept later in the interrogations.
How old are you?
18.
Okay. Where did you go to school?
South Memphis High School.
When did you graduate?
Last year. Class of 2017. This year, sorry. Class of 2017. I graduated with an honors diploma.
That's exciting.
As we know, Ellen is lying when she answers most of these questions. Because we know she's lying, we can see the way Ellen expresses herself non-verbally when she lies based on facts. 1. Ellen's tone drops and flattens, a notable deviation in her paralanguage.
Do you go to school?
No.
No. What's the last grade you completed?
12.
2. Her eyebrows raise. 3. This is a cluster of non-verbal indicators. Ellen looks up and to the right. She smiles, laughs as she answers, and then moves her hands apart.
When did you graduate?
Last year.
4. We can see another cluster when she corrects her lie with another lie. This time we can tell she's more flustered. She scrunches her face to the point that she closes her eyes. She false starts. We see her eyebrows drop dramatically. She rapidly shakes her head back and forth, and finally, she aggressively flicks her hair out of her face and tilts her head back. 5. Last, we see another eyebrow raise.
What kind of classes did you take?
AP.
AP what?
AP American Studies, AP Human Geography, AP Psychology, AP Biology.
Goodness.
Pretty much everything I could take.
Yeah. And I know you live with your sisters, because I know somebody else has talked with them today. I didn't talk to them. And who else do you live with?
Ellen responds, just them, and she sounds more emotionally expressive. She may have a soft spot for her sisters. The investigator seems to think so, as she often includes them in her questioning.
And my mother.
Where do you live?
In the area. I don't know the exact address.
So you live with your sisters and your mom, and you graduated last year. And you were walking down the street, it sounds like, today?
Mm-hmm.
Who were you with?
I was with my friend.
And I wasn't there, so I really don't know.
Yeah.
Who are your friends?
The two males that have also been detained.
Okay. Who are they to you?
They're friends.
What are their names?
I'm not going to give their names.
Unless I'm there, she only trusts me as a boy.
So what have you been up to today?
I haven't been home, and now I'm really concerned about what's been going on.
Ellen puts up her defenses. In a setting outside of an interrogation, defensiveness naturally elicits a negative response from the listener. Detective Smith is trained to employ the resistance countering technique, reframing. In this instance, she utilizes reframing to refocus Ellen's attention on something more positive. Holding positivity assists with resetting the flow of conversation, prevents defensiveness from building, and increases efficient information gathering. This tactic draws from the field of positive psychology, which arose from the idea that reorienting focus and reframing perspectives away from negativity results in greater life equilibrium.
Good one, dude.
Where were you?
Out.
You went out where?
Out and about. Couldn't sleep.
When Ellen lied about graduating from South Medford High School,
I graduated with an honors diploma.
she stated that she had graduated with an honors diploma, an identity lie. This is unnecessary detail. In contrast, her responses here are short and vague.
You went out where?
Out and about.
She's unable to provide any detail. An investigative team will analyze amounts of detail and specificity in the context of what suspects say. They might note that Ellen was overly specific when she provided detail when Detective Smith didn't prompt her to. Honors diploma. They might also know that Ellen was overly vague when the investigator prompted her to be specific, her actions. Both warrant attention in an interrogative environment.
Where's the last place you slept?
At the house.
At your mom's house?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we've talked to your mom. You know that?
You
She's
lying.
still worried about you.
Ooh, wait. Oh, maybe she's not.
She's still worried about you.
Detective Smith shares that she knows Ellen is lying, but follows with an empathy statement. There is no perceptible response from Ellen, but it's clear Detective Smith is still trying to earn Ellen's trust and break the ice. This is an attempt to make an emotional connection, but Ellen holds steadfast, maintaining her resistance.
I would actually like to speak truth today. Okay. I think that your mom is, it's been a long time since I've seen a parent like your mom was today. She was on her knees on the ground, sobbing.
And? Logical appeal to emotion? Logical fallacy?
So I do know that that's not where you spent last night. So where'd you spend last night?
I didn't sleep last night.
So where's the last place you slept?
My mother and my father's house.
Well, I've talked to your mom, and so I know that you haven't been staying.
Right, it's my father's weekend. I go back and forth though, because my father is a little bit abusive.
Ellen mentioned her father's abusive behavior relatively out of context. Her parents shared joint custody, which explains why she went back and forth between their houses. Further, her response bared no relevance to the question. Consider that Ellen conspired to kill her father, and very recently encouraged and stood by as her boyfriend murdered him, lifted his body into the trunk of her father's car, and threw it over an embankment.
Why is
Her
my
statement
streamline not
regarding her
increasing?
father's abusive behavior extends beyond a lack of remorse, resembling something more like revenge. When investigators spoke to Ellen's old friends, they shared that she had been consistently confiding in them about the abuse.
I know that he was kind of rough on her, and she said that he would, like, emotionally abusive and physically abusive, but I'm not sure how true that is.
What she would bring up is things weren't how, like, they were not good at her household. She felt her dad wanted to kill her. He started getting abusive. He started mistreating her sister.
I bet this doesn't count.
When the Medford PD posted details surrounding the crime and suspects on their Facebook timeline, there was an outpouring of mourning and kind words for Aaron. Many comments portrayed Aaron as the opposite of abusive, stating, Aaron cared more about his girls than anything. Members of the Fryer family and the Medford community were shocked.
So what's the last house you left from?
My father's house.
Okay. And when did you leave there?
About noon.
Oh, it is. This isn't even impacting it.
Wherever I felt like going, I just went for a walk. And I didn't stop walking.
So today is Monday, and it is 11:30.
Okay, so I've been awake for almost 24 hours.
So you left at noon. What day?
Sunday. Yesterday.
And what was going on before you left the house?
Detective Smith is attempting to establish timelines, but this proves difficult due to Ellen's continued lying and evasion.
My father was very upset about something. I can't recall. He has very violent outbursts. My dog was hit by a car because he smashed a glass table onto my dog, and the gate was open, so my dog ran outside and he got hit by a car.
When did that happen?
A couple of weeks ago.
So what was going on yesterday to make you leave?
the environment. I just didn't like the vibe.
So who was home when you left?
My sisters and my dad. Where's my dad now?
Well,
Ellen attempts to act as though she's concerned about her father, but she fails badly. Consider which behavioral cues indicate deception and post the timestamps in the comments.
Thanks, dude. I like the interactive ones.
So you leave. What door did you leave out of?
The front door.
Did you tell anybody you were leaving?
No.
And then where'd you go?
Turn here, turn there. Kind of wandering around town.
Making my way.
Ellen describes walking and seeing the nearby market, though she says her memory is fuzzy,
My memory is pretty fuzzy now.
Is it?
and she claims she doesn't remember much else.
And then what else did you see?
Nature.
Preceding interrogation, investigators may engage in an exercise termed perspective taking. They place themselves in the suspect's shoes. Suspects will often prepare themselves
Thanks.
to answer questions that are central to the crime.
Oh,
they
actual
committed.
photo of her shoes?
By viewing
Okay.
the situation from suspects' perspectives, investigators are more likely to determine what questions suspects might expect or not expect. Investigators will then begin the interrogation by asking anticipated questions to establish a behavioral baseline, and follow by asking unanticipated questions. This allows investigators to make a comparison between baseline responses and responses that suspects provide when caught off guard.
Well, at some point you must have met up with some friends.
Yeah, I ran into them.
Where were you when you saw them?
Can't remember.
So I feel a little bit kind of like we might just be like playing cat and mouse and going back and forth. Okay.
In addition to displaying high levels of resistance, Ellen pushes back at the investigator. She exhibits prolonged eye contact. This is a confrontational behavior indicating aggressiveness. She will continue to do this periodically throughout the interrogation.
Your sisters have actually been already talked to by somebody, and they're pretty good on their times when they saw you, because they were getting up and alarms were set and looking at tablets and things like that.
Okay.
And so, you know, I just want to have an honest conversation with you. I think that your sisters are beyond scared, beyond worried. Okay, like for instance, the dog. Where's the dog?
Where is my dog?
What's its name? Squeakerbeak or something?
Sparklebeak.
Sparklebeak.
Where is it?
Sparklebeak.
You tell me.
Don't fuck my dog's name up.
I don't know. Where is Sparklebeak? For me to have an answer about where Sparklebeak is, I don't. Because you're actually the one that took Sparklebeak.
Ooh.
I took him for a walk around the block and then I dropped him back off.
Sparklebeak is not anywhere to be found. Your sisters remember you taking. Your sisters actually remember you taking him last night and walking out the door. To Sparklebeak. I think only you know the answer to that.
No, I don't.
It would be nice to be able to at least let Sierra and Olivia know.
I don't know.
Do you have a boyfriend?
My parents made us break up.
Oh, they did. Tell me about that.
They just didn't like him.
Note that Detective Smith is skilled at asking very open-ended questions to entice Ellen to speak. Open-ended questions encourage narratives that are rich in detail and allow investigators to collect further
tripping up.
information and insight related to the case.
How'd you meet him? School. At South? Okay. And so you've been out of school for a bit?
Mm-hmm.
So your parents didn't like him?
Yeah.
How come they didn't like him?
I don't know.
Well, you must have had some kind of conversation about why your parents don't like your boyfriend.
They're just like, we don't like this guy, get rid of him.
So what did you do?
I ended it.
What was that boyfriend?
Ended what?
Gavin.
Justin.
What's his last name?
Can't remember. I wasn't dating him for very long. Maybe 2 weeks.
You don't know your boyfriend of 2 weeks' last name.
No.
You could find him in a yearbook, though.
Oh, okay.
Don't you think? He didn't have any other boyfriend?
No.
Every detail holds the potential to be significant. The nonverbal indicator that follows is very subtle, almost unnoticeable.
I've had a few, like, weak relationships that I don't really consider those to be real.
Everything is noteworthy when it comes to body language analysis. Note that Ellen displays asymmetrical eye blinking and has done so several times throughout the interrogation up to this point. As part of a standard neurological examination, practitioners document asymmetrical facial movement, including eye blinking as well as out-of-the-ordinary ocular movement. Blinking is controlled by the nervous system, specifically through voluntary neural control in the autonomic nervous system. This could be a sign of a neurological, neuropsychological, or psychological issue, as well as medication or drug use.
Wow.
Overtiredness may also cause asymmetrical eye blinking.
Did you guys know
Ellen
that?
has purportedly been awake for approximately 24 hours or more.
Bet you didn't know
Although overtiredness is a likely cause, we must also note that Ellen displays other abnormal eye movements at different points during the interrogation, as well as significantly and consistently odd behavior. We can only speculate what exactly this may be, but we do know there is a strong possibility that each time Ellen does this, she is experiencing some form of abnormal brain activity.
Tell me about the boyfriend you had that your dad thought was too little for you.
Oh yeah, that's another situation. My dad's just flat out, I don't like this guy. You need to break up with him. And of course, I want my father's wishes for the person I'm seeing.
Who was the guy that was too old for you?
I won't give names.
So what was that circumstance though? Tell me about that.
My parents are very controlling.
Yeah.
My dad is very abusive.
In what way?
Verbally, emotionally.
Say
When
physically.
I did something that he didn't like, he would grab me right here and he'd pin me against the wall.
No, what would happen?
And then my little sisters would freak out and then he'd stop.
So what was being said or what was being done or what happened to lead up to him putting his hand on you?
I honestly don't know. I'd like to know that myself.
Well, I don't have that answer because you were the one that was there.
Well, like I said, he was drunk, but he's done it sober as well.
But what words were being said?
Like, you. It's very emotionally damaging to hear your father tell you that.
And who all was there when that happened?
Just me. After school.
I thought you said your sisters were there.
Ellen shared only moments ago that her sisters asked him to stop.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Little liar.
Here she explains that she was alone when it happened. Investigators may ask the same questions repeatedly to look for the slightest deviation in suspect stories, particularly to those who display high levels of resistance, like Ellen does. Among the handful of Ellen's friends and acquaintances who spoke to the police and or accepted our invitation to interview, two mentioned that Ellen was not always honest.
And she came to school one day with a thing on her leg and said it was from her sisters pushing her. I don't know, because Ellie has kind of lied to me before, which did hurt.
Jillian McFeeder shared the story of an event that occurred closely preceding Aaron's murder with police. McFeeder stated she decided at that point that she could not forgive Ellen for what she'd done.
Rip.
She was telling her father that she was at my house when she was actually at her boyfriend's house. So I got a call from Ellie that was very frantic saying, I need you to cover for me. So of course I'm thinking, okay, maybe something really bad is going on. So her dad calls me, and of course I cover for her, and then he finds out, so he ends up thinking that I was covering for her the entire time when I did not have a clue that she was lying. This is one time I thought maybe she's in a dangerous situation. Of course I'm gonna help her because she was my best friend and I trusted her, and that was the wrong decision.
Yeah, big mistake.
Jillian ended her friendship with Ellen after that night and explained to the investigator that she would never trust her ex-best friend again. She knew Ellen was going down a wrong path, and she refused to follow. Here, sitting opposite a trained investigator, Ellen does exactly what cost her Jillian's friendship. She lies.
Yeah, sometimes we go over there by ourselves, and we just want to get away from the other two. Having two younger sisters is stressful. Everything's an argument.
Mm-hmm.
The following questions are generic about whereabouts, the last time she saw her father, and some of her locations over the past 24 hours. Smith is establishing a timeline and frame of reference to compare it to what she knows about Ellen and the crime, and what she will learn from Russell's and Gavin's interrogations.
So you were at the park on the other side of the street from Dairy Queen and Blackbird, and then you saw your friends. And what were your friends doing?
Milky Milk.
Okay.
We know that Ellen and said friends were certainly not just hanging out, being goofballs. Ellen does not appear to be attached to what she says, seeming guiltless. She also comes off as equally removed from impending consequences. As an honors student with stellar grades, Ellen has demonstrated advanced cognitive ability. She would need to possess assets like strong critical thinking skills, working and long-term memory, and at least an average or above IQ to excel as she has. If Ellen is intellectually gifted, we have less of an explanation for why she consistently tells lies that she cannot keep up with. Her approach to evasion and resistance is persistent but not logical, let alone strong, and it brings up a question as to whether Ellen is in a normal, healthy state of mind at the time of this interrogation. A more sinister explanation, Ellen could be doing this intentionally, manipulating the investigator and setting the scene for an insanity defense.
And then what was the conversation?
Hey, what are you doing? Nothing much. What are you doing? Just walking around. You want to hang out? Sure. And we started walking.
And when do you think that was?
I'm not quite sure.
What kind of car does your dad drive?
Grand something?
What color is it?
Like goldish silver.
When's the last time you were in that car?
When he drove me to the store.
Detective Smith continues to ask questions surrounding details of the crime. She has reasonable suspicion that Ellen was in that car only hours ago with her dead father in the trunk. And she's probing for behavioral discrepancies between answers Ellen provides here and answers Ellen provided earlier when responding to questions unrelated to the crime.
When's the last time you drove that car?
The last time I drove that car? When I parked the car at Walmart.
And that was, so today's Monday, and you said that was a couple days ago? What time of day?
We had to get something for dinner. So I'd say about 6 p.m.
And who all went to Walmart?
Me and my dad.
What'd you guys get?
Meat.
Kind. Like, what were you guys making?
Oh, I'm vegetarian, so I don't really care.
By the way, did you know sausages are actually the leftover pig guts? And intestines, and the heart, and the liver, pork chops, they're used.
Okay. When's the last time you saw your dad?
Yesterday. I'm too tired to keep talking.
You want to take a little break? Okay. Do you want some water or anything? You just want to sit here for a few minutes? Okay. Well, you just sit tight for a few minutes and we'll try to figure that out, okay?
It may be difficult to imagine that this mild-mannered 15-year-old girl conspired to kill her father. She has denied knowledge and culpability and claimed abuse. She has likewise lied consistently throughout the interrogation. Many involved in this case seem to want an answer to a question they are hesitant to ask. Was Ellen truly a victim of abuse? Or is she lying? We spoke to multiple sources who questioned why Ellen planned and encouraged the murder of her father, when other options of escape from the alleged abuse were available to her. They argue that she could have gone to the police, her doctor, the fire station, or...
Hold on.
or other local sources of support. They asked why she'd not chosen to run away. They admitted that they simply couldn't understand what had happened. It's relevant to note that cases of patricide are extremely rare. The circumstances of Aaron's tragic murder were less than 0.002% likely to happen. This innocent, sweet-sounding 15-year-old girl is not a typical young teenager. Her actions were so unusual that even the FBI lacks the words to describe them. Ultimately, though, Ellen didn't swing the baseball bat that killed her father.
Gavin was kind of one of those kids that kind of everybody knew, at least, because he had kind of a very specific outward kind of image that I think he was trying to display, very dark, very kind of shady,
Overall, he really was relatively nice, but just kind of a weird kid. Gavin was a normal guy. It was really cool.
He's always outgoing. He was an open person. He was like, I don't know, he had friends, but he wasn't like popular, if that makes sense.
It just makes sense that he would do something like that. I mean, he makes threats to kill people. He obviously has the outward image of somebody who, it seemed like he was playing an imitation game. It's like the classic, trench coat mafia at your school. Like, it seemed like he wanted to be one of the Columbine shooters.
Many of those who knew Gavin held mixed perceptions of him. From multiple accounts, he seemed to be as much of a friend as he was an enemy, as normal as he was eccentric, and as outgoing as he was reserved. Some said that they noticed him changing over the couple of years leading up to Aaron's murder. Others said that he had always been the way he was. Regardless of whether pre-murder impressions of Gavin were positive or negative, most who responded to our request to interview didn't believe that he could have done what he did.
He was never like that, man. No one would have ever guessed that he would have been a murderer, In social environments, he can be cool. If you're just with him, he'll start saying...
Is this guy doing the interview on his fucking phone?
You shouldn't say that. Don't say it to anybody else. You know what I mean? Like, keep that one to yourself.
Gavin's behavior and responses to investigators, framed within the context of what family and old friends and acquaintances have said, serve as an opportunity for a unique insight into a crime that no one anticipated. This interrogation occurred less than a day after Gavin bludgeoned Aaron to death, but shortly after he sits, he lightheartedly, mechanically asks,
How's your morning been so far?
Busy.
Busy? Yeah.
Mark this heavy contrast as our first behavioral observation of Gavin. He displays no visible signs of remorse. Just as we observed in Ellen, Gavin appears unfazed by the seriousness of his past actions and present situation. Whereas Ellen initially presented as emotionally flat, Gavin teeters on the edge of jovial. This is the start of what is known as the Reed technique. The first step in such technique is isolation, which they've done for an extended period. The second step deployed here is called maximization. The Reed technique recommends 5 minutes of isolation, but Gavin has been isolated for hours, with the exception of an officer keeping a close watch on him. Following isolation and maximization, the Reed method incorporates 3 primary categories: fact analysis, investigative interview, and interrogation. As part of the fact analysis step, investigators gather the facts involved in the case and analyze them to search for motive, potential to commit the crime, and likelihood to commit the crime. Law enforcement will use both dependent and independent corroborating evidence in this stage. During this stage, investigators develop a full understanding of the crime scene and other relevant aspects of the crime.
Alright, so, me and Jim have spent about 4 hours with, you probably know him as Mike.
Yeah, wow.
And Detective Stephanie Smith has spent about the same amount of time with Ellen. And I just want to throw some things at you, so all I want you to do right now is just listen to me and let you know what's going on, okay?
Step 1. Positive confrontation. At this point, the investigators have acquired enough evidence to reasonably suspect that Gavin committed the crime. As part of positive confrontation, the primary investigator lays it all out on the table, objectively stating the facts. He does this in an intentionally soft, soothing voice to appear non-threatening and to give Gavin a false sense of security.
Mike took us out to East Antelope and pointed out the towers. And we have people out there right now recovering Ellie's dad. He's deceased. Kelly's dad was basically wrapped up in a blanket and a tarp and taken out and dumped.
The investigator opts to use words that are non-accusatory while presenting the evidence. He does not say, "You took his body and dumped it." He says, "His body was taken out and dumped." The latter is passive voice as opposed to active. Controlling suspects' levels of resistance and defensiveness is critical to the success of an interrogation.
We don't know if this is something that's been planned out a long time ahead, or if this was just like last night, you guys decided to go over there and get Ellie the hell out of a bad situation.
The investigator implements step 2, theme development here. He frames the crime from a perspective that fulfills Gavin's moral justifications. This is the investigator's moral theme. If Gavin murdered Aaron, he did it to protect Ellen. This will occur and build as the interrogation progresses. The investigators pre-planned this, likely structuring it around information gleaned from other sources like
Gavin was only protecting Ellie.
We will call the investigators' theme development the hero theme.
This isn't a matter of when it happened, where it happened, who was involved. It's more a matter of why this happened and what was going on through all of you guys' minds at the time. We don't take sides in these kind of cases.
Yes,
We're
they
basically
do.
truth seekers. We're here to seek the truth as to what happened. And Ellie has been 100% cooperative with this.
Are you Ellie? No. What's your name? I have the right to remain silent.
And then how long have you known Ellie?
Ellie's been almost a year now.
Okay. Boyfriend, girlfriend?
Only about 6 months.
There's some information that Ellie might be pregnant. Has she told you that?
Gavin confirms that he was both dating and sleeping with Ellen. That is, he confirms that he was both dating and sleeping with a minor. It took a handful of seconds for this investigator to prompt Gavin to admit to a statutory offense.
He would like hang around middle schools. When he turned 18 is when everybody like found out that he was with like a 15-year-old. People were automatically like, okay, bro, like that's not cool. And a lot of people stopped talking. And he wanted her at any cost. No one else.
Like, bro, that's not
Because
cool,
Gavin
bro.
shows little resistance and doesn't
Like,
reject
bro.
or deny the investigator's accusations, the investigator can bypass steps 3 and 4 of the Reed interrogation technique, handling denials and overcoming objections. Instead, he jumps straight into step 5 of the Reed technique, procurement and retention of suspects' attention, accusations. The investigator can bypass steps 3 and 4 of the Reed interrogation technique, handling denials and overcoming objections. Instead, he jumps straight into step 5 of the Reed technique, procurement and retention of suspects' attention. The investigator must guide Gavin's attention away from the potential repercussions of the crime and back to the main theme. He does this through minimization or through rationalizing that the crime was not that serious of an offense.
You guys are only, what, 3-4 years apart? A little over 3, yeah. Okay.
Because of the investigator's redirection here, Gavin is back in the hero mindset.
That's
From
so
Gavin's
retarded.
perspective, investigators are only concerned about Aaron's abuse of his daughter, not his murder. And Gavin has exactly the information they need.
Her dad's an alcoholic, and he goes and she said that he's beaten her and locked her in the bathroom before and stuff.
Has she ever told you that anything in regards to?
That was just recently. That's what set me off.
Okay.
This is a turning point. In just
That's
over 10
what
minutes,
set me
Gavin is
off, he
fully
said.
bought into the hero theme. The next steps are crucial to the success of the interrogation. They almost have a full confession, but sticking
as
true
long
to the Reed method, the investigator immediately continues as though Gavin merely commented on the state of the weather. The hero approach to theme development was Gavin's Achilles heel, his greatest weakness. His crime was gruesome and ruthless, but he seemed to desire to be a hero as much as he desired to be a villain. Among the dozens of friends and acquaintances we interviewed, only one confirmed a possible explanation as to why this theme works so well for investigators.
He was very protective of the people he cared about. Actually, how we met, I was bad-mouthing a couple people, not realizing that he was connected to those people that pissed me off, and for whatever reason, I just wanted to talk, and he gave me a black eye.
Although Jacob laughed it off, the example he gave supports the theory that Gavin possesses a low anger threshold, meaning he's anger prone. Some might argue that Gavin's actions display extreme loyalty. whereas others might protest that they served as outlets for his aggression.
When did she tell you
Loyalty.
about that? And what did she tell you?
Sounds like some weird obsessive possessive type shit.
What's your understanding of what he did to Ellie?
He basically laid next to her naked and started.
And then so you mentioned that kind of set you off, upset you. Obviously, it would upset me too.
This is an empathy statement.
Come on, you don't lay next to your kids and do that stuff. Didn't we learn anything from Tom Brown? I'm just kidding. In a video game.
Thing that encourages reciprocity. Establishing reciprocity, in this case emotional reciprocity, in an interrogative setting is a form of persuasion. If the investigator provides a small favor, the suspect may feel a need to return it, thereby lowering resistance. The empathy statement also creates an opportunity for Gavin to elaborate on what he meant when he said he lost it. But the investigator quickly moves on once Gavin responds. Linguistic analysis involves the interpretation of words and phrases in context. So is a transitional expression. The simple linguistic interpretation here is that Gavin wants to move on from this topic of conversation. The investigator intuits this and immediately resumes asking questions along the lines of the hero theme.
And then, so what was the plan going over to Ellie's last night? Was it to pick up her belongings and get her out of that situation?
Pick her up some stuff and get her out of there, yeah.
Okay.
He told me to get a gunpoint before.
He what?
He threatened my life and told me a gunpoint before.
Aaron has over at his house?
And then there was one time he came over banging on my door because he was all mad. I actually called you guys for that because I was like, I didn't want to go out the door, look out the window, see anything because I didn't know if he had a gun or not. But
how long ago was that you called us?
I think it was a month ago.
And then when was the situation where he pointed a gun at you? Where was that? Where did that happen and how long ago was that?
Gavin describes his interactions with Aaron as being characterized by fear. He claims that Aaron threatened him more than once. Beyond Gavin's reports of Aaron's threatening behavior, Ellen claimed to him that Aaron abused her. The fear response is an evolutionary physiological survival mechanism that's triggered in reaction to perceived impending harm. It's otherwise termed the fight or flight response, which includes the following reactions: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. We'll discuss the fight or flight response concerning Gavin as the interrogations progress.
So I went over to his house one time. This is where I knew that he didn't like me or whatever. And, I came over and he's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And then I'm like, "I was here to say hi to Ellie. She said that I would come over." He's like, "No." So he grabs a gun and was like, "Get out of here. I'm giving you 20 seconds."
Did Ellie witness that?
No. I don't know what caused him to not like me.
Bro, because you're fucking 19, dude.
Really chillax. He was chillax until he was dead ass. Dead.
Does he drink a lot?
So yes, he is an alcoholic.
If Aaron suffered from alcoholism, Ellen could have been in a considerably unstable environment. Children of individuals who struggle with alcoholism are more likely to develop mental illness. Moreover, and in reference to Ellen's claims, greater consumption of alcohol relates to greater rates of inappropriate, unwanted advances.
Need more iron.
So you get this text yesterday, last night, and when you got over there, what time of the morning do you think it is now that you guys arrived?
It was 2:30 in the morning.
2:30 in the morning is when you guys get there? Okay.
Gavin must be in his hero mindset, believing that the investigators view his crime as morally justifiable. Once Gavin is primed to be more receptive, open, and honest, the primary investigator dives into information gathering. Note that the second investigator is present to ensure proper execution of step 9 of the Reed interrogation technique, converting an oral confession into a written confession. A third party witnesses and writes down suspects' confessions.
Where is she at when you first see her?
She's poking her out the window, being like, "Hey, come on in."
Out of her bedroom window? Okay. And what do you and RJ do at that point?
At that point, RJ was like, "Okay," and then
yeah.
Gas levels on him. I go in the window. RJ waits outside.
He waits outside, and then do the bags start getting passed out the window?
Bags?
How many bags do you think she has ready to go at that point when you get there?
Gavin appears calm and collected, unaffected by his present circumstances. However, as the investigator probes more deeply into the specifics
like,
of that
oh,
night,
fuck, oh, shit,
Gavin
oh, fuck,
crosses
oh,
his
shit.
arms tightly over his chest. This is a self-pacifying behavior, a self-hug meant to reduce stress and regulate emotions.
When we got there, she had a guitar.
The pellet rifle.
The pellet rifle, yeah. And then she had like a makeup kit and then another thing in it.
So now it's you and Ellie in the bedroom, and you mentioned that Dad heard you. Did Dad hear you guys in there? Or did...
Well, he got up and then Ellie was
And
I mean, I didn't want this guy to come and start beating the crap out of me.
So how'd the conversation go between Ellie and her dad at that point when she's saying, I got up and went to go pee?
He's like, alright, well stop scaring me with all the people trying to break in lately. And I was like, wait, because that was the first night we had gone. I mean, we went over there last night, but I mean, we didn't go for it because her dad's girlfriend was there.
Okay.
Saturday night.
So you'd went over Saturday night to try to get her out of there.
Yeah. I know I'm in serious trouble, aren't I?
Well, we need to figure out what happened. And, you know...
You're
there's
fine,
a lot
dude.
of
I'm sure you'll be
things at
okay.
play Here, but, so, now...
It's not like you
you've been
fucking
there
killed
about
somebody,
20
right?
minutes before
Ah, like, come on, bro.
interacts with her dad.
His tone is even, and his responses are level, but when Gavin removes his jacket, we can reasonably assume that he is more stressed than he's letting on. Actions like tugging at a shirt collar or removing clothing, as Gavin does here, may be referred to as ventilating behaviors. When circumstances are heating up, humans may lean on these behaviors to cool down.
And I know this is going to be a little bit difficult to talk about, Gavin, but you got to be 100% honest.
Come on, Gavin.
What happens next?
So then Ellie got out and they waited in the car. And then
Ellie went to the car?
Yeah.
Did she go out the window or the front door?
She went out the window.
Okay.
As Gavin answers, he rubs his nose. While nose touching under high-stress circumstances does not necessarily indicate deception, it does indicate heightened stress. It appears that Gavin's feelings of discomfort are building.
And when you said they waited in the car, are you talking about RJ and her? I can tell you that the car is seen on video on a surveillance camera at a neighbor's house, leaving at about 5:50 in the morning. If you're getting into the bedroom at about 2:30, you're talking about 3 hours until you guys leave. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
Okay. That entire 3-hour time, what's going on inside the bedroom? I mean, what's the purpose of waiting so long?
We were trying to wait for her to fall asleep again so that we could get out.
Okay.
And then he starts to wake up and I just acted on instinct. And I don't know what I was doing.
We know that Gavin was aware of what he was doing, but it appears that he displays little to no signs of discomfort or deception in this moment.
And then I just kept hitting him until they stopped and then I heard like gurgling, you know.
Jesus. Oh, he's just like full on confessing to the whole fucking murder. Okay, dude. Alright, dead.
Dumbass.
Next, Gavin does something unexpected.
I know you are, and I know this is difficult. And that's what we're...
Gavin's doing something. What, is this really that unexpected?
Let me ask you this, Gavin. Were you upset because of everything that Ellie had told you?
I didn't want to kill her. I didn't want to kill her.
Right, but why not at 4:30 when you know she has the keys, why not just everybody go out the window and leave?
Ellie hates her parents. She doesn't want to go back there again. She wanted him dead, but I didn't want to kill him. And I was like, I'm not going to kill him. She was all like, no, I don't want him around. I don't want him around my sisters anymore. I mean,
He's trying to say he got
Yeah,
manipulated
bro.
by a 15-year-old girl.
You fucking bro, what are you doing?
So do you think that Ellie could have influenced Gavin?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would never see my nephew acting in that behavior of brutally killing somebody. From my point of view and everybody else, you know, my family, we all agree that Ellie was 100% at fault.
It
Come
was not
on,
long
he's the
before Gavin
adult.
admitted to his role in executing Aaron's murder. As opposed to Ellen, he put up little to no resistance, immediately acknowledging that the events that morning had transgressed and that he had solely swung the bat that killed Aaron. Russell would prove even less resistant, uninhibitedly spilling nearly all details involved in the crime. Just as Gavin stated he was doing, Russell insisted that he was protecting Ellen. What we are about to observe is among the most bizarre behavior we have seen in an interrogation up to this point.
What do these bottom connectors do?
Is that a camera right there? That
Yep,
rather
that's camera.
not have a camera aimed at me.
It's not cut the board, but I think they're required to. So it's not finished.
Like,
I mean, heck, I've had a body cam all day. I mean,
well, yeah, but see, I
my
don't.
friend, we're recorded wherever we go. You know that.
Even the police bathroom.
Feels like it. Probably, yeah. You have a seat, man. Oh, yeah, I can sit down.
Well, you can sit down.
Yeah, well, I'm not allowed to sit unless you're sitting. So that way I can sit. That's all.
Russell tries to show dominance and control by stating he doesn't want to be recorded, and then after the officer tells him he can sit down, he replies, "You can sit down." This immediately shows he's trying to display his lack of fear of authority. Of the three who participated in the crime earlier that morning, Russell appears to be the least impacted. While Gavin's
That's the
behavior
alpha
evolved from casual
sigma
to
male
blunt
right there.
to distraught, and Ellen's from flat to angry, Russell's is steadily lighthearted and upbeat. His conduct is eccentric, driven by a variety of psychological factors that will break down as his interrogation progresses.
My mom kind of took him under her wing, trying to help him. He mentioned that he's autistic, and so he has trouble finding work. And it wasn't too long before that my youngest son was diagnosed with autism. So that was our kind of like our instant connection. He did a lot of family things with us. He spent Easter with us. He's gone to dinners with us. So we're pretty close. I mean, he calls me his sister. He calls my mom.
Really? That sounds pretty fun. It's probably soundproof so that people,
Well, people get loud themselves. Sometimes we bring like drunks here from drive.
drunks of
Oh,
Yeah.
drunks.
Not a big fan.
Not a big fan of them.
Let me tell you about this guy that I just watched get murdered.
Russell persistently claims that he owns a protection business. He unshakingly asserts this, and the police don't at any point question it. When individuals are convinced of something untrue despite all evidence indicating otherwise for an extended period, they're said to hold a delusion. Oftentimes, delusions are bizarre, meaning they're highly improbable or not set in reality. E.g., an individual consistently believes that the neighbor reads minds. Other times, delusions are non-bizarre, involving beliefs that are within the realm of possibility, e.g. consistently believing one is being followed.
E.g.
Russell's
Why would you say
protection business
E.g.?
could be a delusion.
E.g.
While outside of the norm, it could nonetheless be true, qualifying as non-bizarre. We would require additional information, such as input from friends and those Russell claims to protect, to determine this.
But I try not to resort to violence.
Good.
I always try and talk to the person. Her father is a drunk compared to what she told me. And I've only talked to him over the phone probably once or twice. He's really not that good on the phone.
Really?
Yeah. He,
Her father?
Yeah.
Who is her father's name? You know?
All I know him as
I know.
is Aaron. That's all I know. Of course, then again, I know like Aaron Martinez, Aaron, her father, but I don't know his last name. And I know Aaron Novi. So, okay.
Russell starts rambling, and the investigator allows him to do this. This is a strategy to keep the accused talking so they feel comfortable. And the more comfortable a person feels, the more likely they are to say something incriminating. This is also a way for the officer to build trust.
I met him when I was living in Medford, working at a place called the Purple Parrot. He was trying to find a job so he could find a place to live because he was homeless. He was very sweet, very clean cut, you know, very nice. He's just a savior. That's all he wanted to do was help people. You know, all his life he was let down. He went to foster home. So I would let him come in to get warm. And then one day he didn't even have a coat. And it was like 3 degrees. And I go, where are you going? And he said, well, I'm just going to walk around until McDonald's opens, and And I'm like, no.
Did Jesse ever bring back that guy who talked about the girl who's in danger or whatever from the mob that he was supporting with his high salary? The guy emails me every now and then, but yeah, I mean, I feel like, I think his story is true, but I'm pretty sure he's getting scammed. He just doesn't realize it. And nothing I say, that dude is like super locked into that. Like he just, yeah. But I mean, hey, that's his life.
No, you're gonna come home with me, see if you want. You know, I felt like, you know, enough was enough, you know, this poor kid needs some help. No one's gonna help him.
I think it was like a good 2 years that he was in our lives. Mostly in my mom's life. Like he really did become like a son to her anytime he was looking for help.
It's one of Andrew Tate's girls. It's one of Andrew. Good job, guys. Oh my God, and your names are
Russell
similar
stated
too.
previously
Nice.
That he's diagnosed with autism. As a neurodiverse individual, Russell likely struggles with certain aspects of communication. Although he largely displays well-developed social skills, he exhibits circumstantial speech here. The various individuals named Aaron are not directly related to the conversation at hand. We'll continue to observe examples that support this diagnosis, as well as others, throughout the interrogation.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think I've ever met her father before. I don't think I've met her before.
You don't want to.
I've never met you, and I don't think I've met
He had a hunting rifle. Yeah.
The nice one, or?
I've never seen it.
Oh, okay.
I've never met
How'd you
her.
know he had one?
She told me because he
Oh, like
likes
that,
to
so-
drink a lot.
Oh, okay.
So, and
Have you played any of the Anno
reason
games?
why I was
Yeah.
helping her
Yeah, they were
was
okay.
Because he went into her room and laid next to her.
Where's this going? Really? Did she tell you that?
Yeah, and that's why I got her out. Yeah, we went down to the park, met up there. I told her just like leave everything, and just like get the hell out of there. Grab like
What
bag
park?
of clothes. Union.
He says Union is a question, with his voice trailing upward. These are both indications that he may be lying. He hasn't said prior to this, so it's not a normal pattern of his speech, and answering a question with the inflection of a question shows uncertainty in your answer, either because you're lying or aren't confident in the response being correct.
But I've always been kind of a protector of people. So.
This isn't the first time Russell has claimed to be a protector of people.
He looks out for people, and I think that he takes it a little too far. One of my family members drank a lot, and he wanted to go over and beat him up because he was emotionally abusive to me. I really disagree on what he did, but I think
Yeah, you probably should have murdered him, but
he would always
his heart was in the right place.
jack me off his back. I mean, he did it in a worse way, but he just cares.
And he also had this grand idea of creating a community for homeless people or just young people that need help, that don't have help. So it's like he was always trying to go out and resource that, like trying to build that up. He still does. He still does.
Wow.
People look to him like a protector, and he really liked that. It made him feel valued, gave him a sense of purpose, because that was another problem. He didn't really have a sense of purpose. He was just kind of left in the wind.
Unless people piss me off, then they become the not really target. In
Wait, fuck, sorry. Hold on.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I can only.
With this on the last deal.
Fuck, hold on one second.
With this on the last deal.
Fuck, hold on one second. Charger, or I set it in front of me. How the fuck do I not have my cell phone? What did you have it last? I don't know.
Huge.
Check your contacts. It's not my contacts. What the fuck? What could I possibly do?
Okay, got this being automated, these being automated, that being automated, that being automated. Oh, fucking hell.
I think it's on silent. I don't think it's gonna like vibrate when it pulls it. What? If I knew where I lost it, I'd probably have it. I would imagine.
Why is this not getting power?
I don't think so.
Because they're not set up, duh. Okay. I need way more furnaces.
Must have. What? Because I only put it in like 2 spots. I don't know why you did. I just know you did. I know you did. How? I don't know why you're lying about it. What? No, you didn't.
How can I do this properly? I'm gonna have to redesign it. Okay, let's just put this at scale. Oh, I need to mass produce these fucking poles. I'll do that first.